Hi, in the second video of the Habitat Home Corporate migration to Sitecore JSS from MVC, we're going to look at how to actually implement this carousel. So remember in last video we looked at the navigation bar. This video is going to be for the carousel, and then hopefully next video we're going to go through this container card as well as these kind of promos, and the one after hopefully we're going to go through the latest news. So let's get back to the carousel. So the first step is, of course, as always, I'm going to open this carousel in Visual Studio. So this is my carousel that's coming from MVC or Sitecore MVC. And then I'm going to actually create this carousel. So I'm going to do a JSS scaffold, and I've already done that, and I've created two carousels. The first of which, if we open, is the default one. And what this does, if you can check it out here, we go to the definitions, components, carousel, and this has a content list. So I'm using a content list to define the carousel items. Hence, in my div, what I'm doing here is just checking, first doing props.fields of carousel list, then checking that carousel list is not null, and just did a map which shows the image for the carousel list and the caption which has the value of the title and subtitle with the previous and next normally as I would. So it's just again copying and pasting from the Habitat corporate, as you can see, and changing the for each to a map. And that's pretty much it. Now, this idea, if we go to the actual environment here and go to it here, sorry, this is the right environment here. So what I did here, again, I created a carousel and created carousel items under it, which had the correct fields. And then within this carousel, I chose which carousel items I've selected here. Now, this is again a bit cumbersome for the actual user or the actual content editor to have to do that. Why would they have to actually add these if they're children? So I came up with another idea, which is carousel listing. This again utilizes the rendering context, rendering child context. So let's see how this is done. So again, from here, it's very similar. So the carousel listing, the only difference here is I'm doing props.fields.items because I don't have a field in there. So fields.items is my default. And then after I scaffold it, I go here to the layouts, renderings, project, training, sorry, I'm in Habitat Home, carousel listing, and then I go to layout service, and I actually created the rendering content resolver. I use the data source item children resolver. Hence, when I actually create a new component here for my carousel listing, here it is, and has the carousel items, it will automatically work. And as you can see, these are the two implementations. The first one here has the associated data source as carousel listing, and then I have to actually drag and drop every carousel listing in there. And the second one just reads the children of this data source. So all I need to do is just say carousel and read it. Sorry, it's the other way around. This is the carousel listing and this is the carousel. Now, the carousel I think is too cumbersome for the user, so I'm going to delete that, and we're going to use this one. It's really quite easy, and as we go along in the home page, you're going to find that we're doing the same thing. So it's going to be very similar afterwards. The next video, this is what I'm going to go through in the next video. Just a couple of them at the same time, like this one, this one, this one, all these I'm going to do together because they really don't have anything new. The only thing I'll probably do here is just use a rendering parameter to show whether the image is on the left or on the right. And maybe even include this in the same one, where if there's a link or not, show this one and maybe add a background. I don't know. We'll think about it next time, but I think this can probably be one component that's used 3 times, and this of course is a single component here. And this one should be quite basic, but before we go into this one, I'm actually going to start talking about how to create the news template. So if I go back to here, go to news, it has a news listing kind of thing, and it has this news article page. So I'm probably going to implement the news article page first so that I can show you how we aggregate that without GraphQL. So I'm going to try to do everything here without GraphQL, even though I would not, in a real implementation, I wouldn't do that. In a real implementation, I'd probably do something like news listing as a GraphQL, because you might need to search and filter, whereas something like the navigation, I definitely don't recommend using GraphQL for, because it's just a nav. It's never going to have filters and stuff like that. Thanks for watching.